Militza. Bonjour, enchantée. Militza. Bonjour, enchantée. Alexandre. Militza. Enchantée. Bonjour, Militza.
Décidez-vous quelle direction à lecture les consignes en anglais ou en français?
En anglais.
Each team has 20 minutes to present its case to the judges. I will show a board for the 10, 5, last 2, and last 30 seconds of the presentation. During the last 10 seconds of the speech, I will indicate, by means of my two hands, the number of remaining seconds. A team not having ended its presentation after 20 minutes will be stopped to move on the other period of questions. A period of questions of a maximum duration of 5 minutes is assigned to the jury at the end of the presentation. I would like to remind to each judge that it's mandatory to ask at least one question during this period. I will invite the judges to introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Pascal Andreville. I'm the Director of Marketing for Super C.
I'm JDC, Senior Director for Merchandising, Super C.
Good afternoon, I'm Geneviève Biche, VP of HR for Metro Inc.
Hi, my name is Anna Klokowski. I'm VP of Merchandising for the Metro West.
Hello, I'm Christina Bellevue, and I'm an account executive at P&G Procter & Gamble.
From a very young age, I've always had this strange eating schedule very engraved in my body. For example, at 3 o'clock, my mom would always make sure that I would have a snack. So, if my calculations are correct, I should be very hungry any minute now. But when you think about it, eating is really engraved into the way we organize our days. Breakfast, lunch, and supper. It's essential to our life. And we want to make sure that we're going to be providing this to our consumers in the easiest way possible. Mesdames et messieurs, chers juges, mon nom est Alexandra et je suis ici aujourd'hui avec mes coéquipières Siham et Melissa et nous allons aujourd'hui vous présenter une stratégie marketing pour la compagnie Super C. Je vais maintenant continuer la présentation en anglais, mais vous pouvez toujours demander des questions en français ou en anglais vers la fin. So our mandate today was to create a marketing strategy for Super C to attract new customers to Super C stores and retain these customers. We're going to be doing this using a three-pronged approach. The first way will be by recruiting clients from the millennial sector. Secondly, we're going to be maintaining the current clientele of baby boomers. And finally, by retaining customers and increasing loyalty. I'm now going to pass on the floor to Siham to go into a company analysis.
Thank you, Alex. So starting off, we're going to be taking a look overall at Super C and understanding what is the strongest points we have to offer. So we know that currently you are a leader in the market, and on top of that, it's really in the discount segment in Quebec. So that's very strategic, and we have to focus on why we can get those consumers there. In terms of your application, you're one of the first movers in the segment, really taking an effort and really integrating your lives to the consumer. On top of that, something that distinguishes you from each discounted label is the fact that you have a private label that's specific to your store. Consumers have a bond with this, and we have to promote this overall. And on top of that, what we know is that there's a strong perception currently. Consumers really feel a connection to your brand for two main reasons. One being quality and the value that is offered. The price is not that expensive, but what they get for their money is really worth it for them. So we have to create a message that's really focused on the fact that you have a private label brand that's different from other stores and the message you're going to do so with. On top of that, we have to consider what's happening in the industry, what's changing, and how can you take advantage of this. The number one thing we know is that consumers are changing their habits. So they're going more from conventional stores to discount stores. So there's a huge growth possibility that we have to look at. On top of that, one of the biggest things we have to notice is that consumers are starting to shop at both. They're no longer very separated and just shopping at conventional. Even consumers, say at Metro, are now taking the chance to shop at Super C. So we want to create a message that's really strong and make sure that when consumers decide not to shop at conventional anymore, that they're choosing Super C and not our competitors. So now, who else is in the market? Where else can consumers go? Well, we have the conventional stores, but they have a very different message from discounts. What they're offering is a very high, intense customer experience. And they're looking at a vast amount of products. But what we do differently is that we offer it for a better price and a better quality, even though it's a reduced amount. So we have to focus on value and price when we're communicating with our consumers. But when it comes to value and price, there's a lot of questions now. Because a lot of stores like Walmart and Maxi are doing price matching. And that's a huge problem, considering the fact that there's only so low you can go. And every time you have to price match, it doesn't really differentiate you. Consumers now are deciding, I'm just going to go to Walmart and get the price of Super C. And that's a problem. We have to address this by thinking of reasons why consumers need to come to Super C and not our competitors just for price matching. We have to do something different. So now, who are we going to be talking to? There's two different segments in the market that are really emerging. There's millennials and baby boomers who have been our constant. But how can we find a right way to communicate to both of them? You may think, somebody like my mother is not really doing the same thing I would be doing, but we have to focus on what makes them the same. And that's what we're going to be doing today. In terms of what they care about, what they make decisions on, and what are their media habits. So please let me allow you to introduce you to Amy, a millennial, and also Jean-Francois, example, who's a baby boomer. How do we communicate with these people? Well, what they really care about is price, and you have that. But you have to think about the availability because they are very time constricted. Say, for example, baby boomers now are becoming empty nesters soon, and they're not going to be having as much time. They want to benefit with their time in their life. On top of that, they want to do something that's really efficacious for them overall. So we have to think about offering a solution. How can they best use their time and not really spend 3 hours in the shopping store? Sometimes they just want to go in and go out. So how can we promote this to them? We're going to have to do it through their media habits. As we know, baby boomers are coming more and more onto social media, and we have to think of the fact that it's not such a bad idea to stay with what you know. They're using flyers. When my mom checks what to buy, she's going to be opening her Publisac and seeing what flyers there are. You have to communicate with what you know and move on to new segments as well. So now, if you think about the natural buying process, people are buying, it's always very traditional. I need food. After you need food, you're going to check where's the best place to buy it. And after that, you're going to go to your location. We have to disrupt this. Consumers are so stuck in their own ways. We have to find a way that really encourages consumers to come, especially to Super C, and that's what we're going to be focusing on today. So what we will be changing here today is the place, how we interact with our consumers. We're going to take it more online. And on top of that, we're going to be changing our promotion to really incorporate something that's in everyone's day-to-day life. So after this analysis, there's some key important parts I would like you to remember. Number one, your company has a very strong message. We have to promote fresh quality and really get that private label differentiating you. In terms of the industry, we know there is growth and we have to capitalize on that. And for your consumer, we have to find the right way to communicate with millennials and baby boomers at the same time. Melissa will tell you how we can do that.
Thank you, Sihan. So we thought of 3 ways that you could communicate with the millennials and also the baby boomers. So the first thing we thought about is you're Super C since 1987. You've been there for a long time in Quebec, and the goal is to focus really on how proud you are to serve the Quebecers and play on that nostalgia feel. The kind of tactics that you could use is, for example, a spokesperson for Super C, or either a TV or YouTube ad advertising playing again on that nostalgia feel. The second way that you could reach your mandate is your organic Super C. Here the focus mostly is on product diversification and making offer the most valuable products that are organic. So here you're going to focus on product diversification, maybe a nutritionist in place that can suggest some meals to prepare or some food that are healthy for you, and also product tasting. The third way is Super C, super simple. So the focus is to really focus on the ease and the value that you give to the consumer. The kind of tactics you can use is social media, app, and also a birthday gift. So which alternative are we going to choose today? So we came up with 3 criteria that you asked us. So the first one is ease of implementation. So we chose this criteria to make sure that the alternative that you choose is easy to implement and is fast to implement also. It's our deal breaker. The second criteria is cost. It's pretty self-explanatory, which alternative is going to cost the less. And the third criteria is the adoption of the message. So which message are going to resonate most with the boomers, but also the millennials right now? So when we evaluate each alternative for ease of implementation, we think that Super C and Super Simple and Super C since 97 can be as easy to implement for both of them. For the cost, of course, organic Super C will cost too much in the sense that you will have to add new product line, so maybe not go that way. And the adoption of a message, Now, millennials and boomers are really looked to save time and not to spend much time in stores. And we feel that the Super C, Super Simple will really resonate with our demographic, but also the demographic of my parents. For example, my mom, who goes to 100 stores to shop for groceries. So that's why we go to Super C and Super Simple. Now I'm going to pass on to Alex, who's going to explain the idea.
Thank you, Melissa. So now going back to how food is essential to our life. Food is literally a basic human need. But why is it so much more complicated to get food than it is to get a glass of water? It's so time consuming. You go to the grocery store, you compare all the deals and the flyers beforehand. Sometimes you even go to multiple grocery stores to make sure you get the best bang for your buck. And we want to make sure that we're making this the easiest way possible for our consumers. So that's why we're proud to introduce today our marketing strategy, which is Super C, Super Simple. What we're going to be integrating in this implementation is going to be ordering and in-store pickups. So this is really going to change the landscape of shopping for groceries in discount stores. Also, we're going to have a game format for the point system, and we're really focusing on facilitating people's lives and saving them that valuable time. So now if I go a little bit deeper into the implementation, we can see that the loyalty program is going to be, we're going to be using your app but modifying it a little bit and also integrating it with your website. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be categorizing products for when they shop. So here we're going to have the private labels at the top because we want to make sure we're pushing those private labels for you. And when people are going to be looking, for example, to add things to their grocery list, they're going to see those private labels first, for example, in the meat section. And then for archive, we're going to be archiving people's grocery lists. So they're going to be making their grocery list, as you already have that option, but now we're going to archive them so they can use an old grocery list if, for example, they forgot it at home, they're trying to, oh, I forgot what I need and I don't want to go back home and get my list, so they can use an old one because most of the time the grocery trips are about the same. Afterwards, we're going to have, like I mentioned, a game format for points where private labels are going to count for more because, once again, we really want to push these private labels to get people buying it more than the other brands. And we're going to be having a pickup area at each store. So we're going to be putting a little bit of money into really making an area where one of the cashiers, for example, would be there instead. And we're going to have a whole system with the logistics of people being able to come and pick up their order that they made either online or on the website. So you're going to be able to, like I mentioned, order both ways because we know baby boomers may not always be comfortable with having an app. Some people aren't quite there yet for the adoption of apps, so we want to make sure that they can still order through the website and make it simple for them. And finally, we're going to also keep track of your most frequent purchases so that we can send maybe some offers through push notifications to make them remember, oh yeah, I needed more, I don't know, pasta this week because I didn't get any. So now if I go a little bit into implementation at a glance and the steps that we're going to be using for this process, we're using a three-pronged approach with three different goals. The first one will be to really build awareness about the loyalty program, which is integrated into the app. So if you're downloading the app, you will automatically be making a profile so that this will link to your loyalty program in a sense. And we want to raise awareness about this. The way we're going to be doing this is through a shop video, a special edition of a flyer. We're going to put a twist on it, and also Super C for Life. This will be 4 months. Afterwards, we're going into the second goal of attracting new customers. We want to get customers from other stores to come to Super C. And this will be using samples in store and Super Gift, which will go a little bit more into detail afterwards. And finally, increasing visits. So here, we're going to be using the Super C app modifications to make sure people are going more and more to the app. Also, surprise deals and cross promotions, which will last about 4 months as well. So now if we look a little bit closer into phase 1, increasing the awareness of the loyalty program to 8 million people in Quebec. So what I want to do here, the first step is a shop video. And this might seem weird because it's food, how do you shock people with it? But we want to show people how much time they're wasting grocery shopping. So some stats of how many times per week, how many hours total, how many days, how many minutes, how many seconds you're spending in a grocery store, all the process behind the grocery store. So we also want to show at the end of this, it would be a viral video on social media, for example, and we want to show that we can help through the features of this new app and this new loyalty program. So for example, the fact that you can order online, pick it up in store just on your way home from work, not have to worry about your grocery list, or the fact that you have that grocery list on hand if you forgot it. Afterwards, we want to have a twist on these flyers. As Melissa was mentioning earlier, a lot of the baby boomers are still using flyers to compare prices of grocery stores, so we don't want to give up on that tactic. It is important to reach them. What we want to do instead is have the first page with a lot less clutter, because right now flyers have a lot of clutter in terms of all these promotions, so we want to have the first page be blank and just say something like tired of forgetting your grocery list, or it can be also different things for like as well as tired of wasting time grocery shopping and things that are going to make people stop and go, where's this from? And then it's going to have a little ad in the bottom about the loyalty program and the features that it offers, and also especially highlighting that you can do it through the website as well for those baby boomers who may not have the app or be willing to get the app. Here we expect 2 million exposures, and finally Super C for Life. This is where it's going to be a contest through consumer-generated content. So yes, the prize is to win Super C for Life, but at a maximum amount. We're not going to make it unlimited. We are going to put a cap on that. And so the consumer-generated content will be photos of pictures of recipes they're using the irresistible products with, and they're going to have to screenshot the purchases they made to prove it's really those brands. So key performance indicators are the amount of video interactions, the app downloads, and the contest participants. I'm now going to pass it on to Melissa for phase 2 and 3.
Thank you. So for the next phase, you wanted also to attract more customers to the stores. How exactly we're going to do that? So the first thing that you could do, for example, is the selection and irresistible tasting. You know, you wanted to push these 2 private brands, and if you allow people to taste them and what they are and what kind of savor they can taste, they will more be able to purchase the product after. It is proven that when you have it in your hands and you test it, sometimes it increases your sales. Though the time that we suggest for these is on the weekends and after 3 p.m. on the weekdays, like you said, in the case that most boomers purchase Super C at those times. This will be once a week and into your 50 stores across Quebec. The second tactic is your birthday super gift. So who doesn't like food on her birthday? I do. So so I would get so the customer when entering the store, they just need to show their cards to the cashier, and they can select 3 items that they want for their birthday, and they can go with that at Super C. So for the key performance indicators, we're looking at the number of new customers entering, also the number of birthday gifts that are sent, and also the number of samples that you are giving out at Super C. So once we attack those customers, how are they going to stay loyal? How are they going to repeat purchases at your store? So the first one is, once again, I want to emphasize on the Super App features. So like Alexandra said earlier, so when they on the app, you will notice how many times a person purchased, and when you say, oh, it's been a week, they didn't be at the store, the notification is going to the app going to send a notification to the people and say, oh, you might be running out of apple, but good news for you, we have a new bunch coming in tomorrow. Okay, so and also they will be able to view the old list, and also they will be able to order online and pick up at the store. And usually when you go at the store, you may also many impulse buying. So when going out, they will make these impulse choices at your store. The second tactic, Super C surprise deal. So this where we want when people are downloading the app and coming to their store, there will be surprise deal that will be offered to them only when they come to their store. They cannot get anywhere else for those deals. So this is another way too. And the third way to increase the average number of visits to your store is cross promotion with your private brands. So you have Sélection and Irrésistible. So why not offer like a selection meal with Irrésistible dessert? So it's a complete meal, and also boomers are most likely to purchase those meals that are already prepared. So for the key performance indicators, we're looking at the number of visits to your store, the increase in sales, the number of points that were given in the app, and also the number of deals given. Now I'm going to pass on to Sina, who's going to explain the numbers. And also how we're going to reach the consumer. So when they need groceries and they check deals and flyers, we're going to be there with the app and they will add to the social test. And for the schedule, we're going to be in 4 months for each phases.
So now in terms of the budget, how much money are we going to be spending to implement this program? We're going to be spending $2.2 million approximately, with most of it going towards the app development and changes that we'll be doing to really engage our consumers. The rest of it will be going to awareness, because once you have such an amazing product, people will be able to use it, and this is where we have to get them knowing and talking about it and talking to their friends. So now if we take a closer look at the numbers, what does that mean for you? What exactly does this implementation do for you? Well, we know the industry is growing, and if we look at how much it's been progressing so far, we can see the next few years it's going to get to 78% of the market will be towards discount stores, which is a growth of 9% approximately. And we want to be able to increase that growth and have people coming back to your store more often. If we take another look at the numbers, we can see that you will be able to have a very strong reach with this implementation plan. If we look at Canadians and drill it down and really look at how many consumers are going towards the discount segment, because we know that it's increasing year over year, and on top of it we know that you have a very strong percent of the marketplace, we feel that it's a very achievable with our plan that you'll be able to reach 456 millennials and also 423 baby boomers. And that's exactly what we've been able to achieve for you today. And that's really a huge achievement, because you'll be able to create a marketing plan that is able to retain your consumers and have them talking about it, but on top of that, be loyal. So we thank you for your time, and now we open the floor to questions.
I'll go first. Where do you get the 2.2 million from?
The 2.2?
No, I don't mean in the calculations. I mean the same way that a customer is sensitive, our accounting is sensitive. We have a budget, and the budget doesn't change from one year to another. So if we have an X amount more for marketing, and suddenly we have to spend 2.2 million more, there's something we're going to cut. Is there something that, when you look at what Super C does today, that you think that maybe is not a good investment for our money? Or how do we get the 2.2 million? Or do we just increase the budget?
Or prices.
Or do we increase the prices?
I think number one, we won't be able to increase the prices because our consumers feel very connected towards that, and that would change your complete dialogue with the consumer. But I would have to say that we would have to look at real allocation, because I would think that there is a marketing budget currently, and that we would have space to move around with it and look at what exactly is the modifications to the app and move from there. I think with any budget, you have to see what you can do and how strong you can meet your consumer. But with this marketing plan, we feel that you will get your money's worth back because consumers will be continuing to come to your store.
So you've talked about millennials, so the Ys, and you've talked about the baby boomers, and you forgot all of us, the X's. How do we fit in your plan? We go and shop at Super C, we're not boomers and we're not millennials. Where do we fit?
Well, you are all also mostly on social media as well. It's not only the millennials that fit into social media, more and more. There's also Generation X that's there. So we will reach that generation with the social media ads. And also those pamphlets, you guys are still using pamphlets when it comes to, you know, doing your grocery shopping. This is one of the main ways that people are comparing their deals right now, because it's online, it's not as present when it comes to the specials and everything. So we believe that also through the awareness raised by the millennials and generation, the baby boomers, increasing their usage of, you know, this loyalty program, it will also create a buzz, and it changes, in a sense, really the way that people are doing their grocery shopping. So people are going to want to capitalize on this. Whether you're Generation Y or Generation X, you want to save time. So when the word is going to get around, this generation will also be becoming loyal with the app and the loyalty program.
You're one of the only teams who identify the fact that we've been hit by deflation, right? And that went into your thinking, so good for you. You'll be unhappy to hear, but we love the fact that we are now going into more of an inflationary period. So prices are going to go up somewhat. How do you deal with that environmental fact given your plan? Because we're going to raise prices on consumers, right, if inflation goes up. the price of goods is going to go up. And you were saying, Sihan, very rightfully so, right, that they're very sensitive to prices, but prices are going to go up. So how do you then adapt quickly your 12-month plan to the fact that prices are going to go up on consumers?
Yeah, actually, it's also with the app, focusing on, yes, the price is important for the consumer, but also the ease of use. And this app will really simplify the process of buying, and people are not only looking for price, but just to simplify their life. We have so many notification and complex processes when coming buying, so I think really the app will help with that, with also the price that are increasing. They say time is money. So.
And you know, we have another big brand, Metro.
Mm-hmm.
This sounds like such a great plan that we're going to be cannibalizing our own consumers. So how do you deal with that, right? We don't want to lose Metro clients going over to Super C for a lower margin.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you answer that piece?
We spent a lot of time thinking about this in the prep room as well, because we were thinking Metro clients actually are now shopping not only at Metro, but they're going towards discount as well. So we're trying to create a very strong ecosystem in a way, because the fact is that consumers are already doing it, so you have to really change with the consumer as well. But on top of that, by creating something so strong in Super C and having that flow, at least they're going towards your other business. But on top of that, your Metro has a very strong business and a very strong idea and connection. So consumers that are already there and feel like my mom's been shopping at this Metro store for years, it has a different pull. So regardless of the consumer you're talking to, you have to find out what exactly their needs are and focus that.
Good.